Please join me in reading our affirmation that is located in your bulletin. Divine right action is guiding my steps to greater success in all of my affairs, and so it is. This affirmation was submitted by our very own Catherine Stuvant, licensed practitioner from afar. This morning I will be reading to you from Living the Science of Mind, page 228. Did you ever ask yourself this question? How is it that I can eat mince pie and ham sandwiches and maybe a salad and have it turn into flesh and blood and hair and fingernails? Here is the miracle of life, the invisible becoming visible. We are so used to the process that we never question it. We take it for granted. Why should we not take it for granted that God will give us ideas? That the Spirit within us, as Jesus said, knows what we have need of even before we ask. Let us get back to the tree again. Suppose every time the tree thought of putting forth a new branch, it would say, "How am I going to do it? I have only a certain number of branches. I don't know how to make a new branch anyway." Now, just for the fun of it, let us suppose this tree is a person, and it is bemoaning its fate because it would so greatly like to have a few more branches, but it doesn't know how to make them. And thinking of the tree as a person, let us assume that every time it says, "I don't know how to make a new branch," it is blocking off the possibility of drawing its life from the soil. If this should happen, the tree would never make any more branches. It would begin to die from that very moment. But the tree is not a person. All it does is depend on nature. All it knows is to grow. So it never short-circuits the divine energy that gives it life. But we are people, and we can short-circuit the divine energy that ought to be flowing through us. We short-circuit it when we deny that it is there. And the reason we deny it is because we do not see this energy, and therefore, some of us do not believe in it. If we believe that the Father is within us, and if we believe that all things are possible to God, then we should no longer deny that God knows what to do with His own creation, and we should include ourselves in that creation. All right, then. Let us see what would happen to us if we should include ourselves in God's creation. Right at the start, we should learn to have a little better opinion of ourselves. I am not talking about a conceited opinion, for we have learned that we can do nothing of ourselves. We live because we are drawing on the invisible source of all life. The only way that God can work for us is by working through us. And God cannot give us anything unless we take it. He has made the gift of life, or we would not be here. Only God can give life, as only God can make a tree. But we are not living like the tree because we deny the very power by which we live. And now, we decide to change all this. We draw on these invisible forces to let our roots run deep into that life which already is perfect and complete. And we live happily and without fear, for fear short-circuits the divine energy, while confusion and uncertainty cause it to produce bondage instead of freedom. If we want to change this, let us start by accepting ourselves for better or for worse. But in this instance, let us be sure that we accept ourselves for better, because we are thinking of that deep, hidden self, which the Bible tells us is hid with Christ in God. Here is where prayer and meditation make possible the miracle of life. Remember, we are talking about affirmative prayer, for there should be nothing negative in our communion with God. It should always be affirmative. We should never say God cannot or will not, but always God can and will and does. And having cleared all doubt from our consciousness, we must learn to affirm that all the power and all the presence and all the life that there is for us and with us and in us. And so it is.